The rain had been falling over Seattle since dawn, turning the city into a blur of gray streets and glowing headlights. Emma Carter stood in the emergency room waiting area, clutching a paper cup of coffee that had long gone cold. Her father, Daniel Carter, had been rushed into surgery less than an hour earlier. The doctors had said it was a shooting. Emma still couldn't make sense of those words. Her father was a high school history teacher. He spent weekends tending his small garden and volunteering at the community center. He wasn't the kind of man who became involved in violence. He was kind, patient, the safest person Emma had ever known. Her younger brother, Noah, sat beside her, tears silently rolling down his cheeks. "He's going to be okay, right?" he asked. Emma forced herself to nod. "Yeah," she whispered. "Dad's strong." But deep inside, fear twisted in her stomach. A police officer approached them. "Miss Carter." Emma stood immediately. "How is he? Did they catch whoever did this?" The officer hesitated. "We're still investigating." Something in his expression unsettled her. "What happened?" Emma asked. "He interrupted an armed robbery outside Martin's pharmacy. Witnesses say he tried to help another customer." That sounded exactly like Daniel Carter. Even in danger, he would put others first. The officer lowered his voice. "We need you to identify someone." Emma frowned. "What do you mean?" He held out a tablet displaying security footage. The image was grainy. Two masked men entered the pharmacy. One stayed near the door. The other argued with the cashier. Then Daniel appeared. He stepped between the gunman and an elderly woman. The struggle happened quickly. A gunshot. Daniel collapsed. The gunman fled. The officer paused the footage. "We've identified one suspect," he said. He enlarged another frame. The mask had slipped slightly. Emma's breath caught. Her entire body froze. "No," she whispered. The officer looked at her carefully. "You know him." Emma stared at the face on the screen. Blue eyes, dark hair, the small scar near his jaw. A scar she remembered tracing with her fingertips years ago. Tyler Brooks, her ex-boyfriend, the man she'd once imagined marrying. "No," Emma repeated, shaking her head violently. "It can't be Tyler." But deep down, she already knew. 3 years earlier, Tyler had been everything Emma thought she wanted. Charming, funny, protective. They met in college. Daniel had welcomed him warmly. "You treat my daughter right," he joked during their first dinner together. Tyler had smiled. Always. For a while, Emma believed him. Until little things began changing. Tyler became secretive. He disappeared for hours. Money went missing. Strange people started calling him. Arguments replaced laughter. When Emma confronted him, Tyler insisted she was imagining things. Eventually, she walked away. It had broken her heart. But Daniel had supported her. "Love shouldn't make you afraid," he'd told her. Months later, Tyler vanished from Emma's life completely. Until now. The surgery lasted 4 hours. Finally, the doctor emerged. Emma rushed forward. "How is he?" The doctor's expression said everything before he spoke. "I'm so sorry." Emma's knees buckled. Noah cried out beside her. The world seemed to stop moving. Her father was gone. The man who taught her to ride a bike. Who danced with her in the kitchen. Who stayed awake helping with school projects. Gone. Because someone pulled a trigger. Because Tyler had been there. The funeral drew hundreds of people. Former students, neighbors, friends. Everyone had a story about Daniel Carter's kindness. "He paid for my textbooks. He helped my son after school. He visited my husband every week in hospice." Emma listened quietly, her grief mixed with disbelief. How could Tyler have been involved? She needed answers. 3 days later, Detective Ramirez called. "We arrested Tyler Brooks." Emma closed her eyes. "Did he do it?" "He claims he wasn't the shooter." "Was he there?" "Yes." Emma swallowed hard. "Can I speak with him?" The detective hesitated. "Are you sure?" "No," Emma admitted. "But I need to know why." The interrogation room felt unbearably cold. Tyler looked older, exhausted. The confident young man Emma once loved had disappeared. He stared at the table. Then he saw her. His eyes filled with tears. "Emma." She remained standing. "Did you kill my father?" Tyler immediately shook his head. "No." "Were you there?" "Yes." Emma felt anger explode inside her. "You were there while my father died." Tyler buried his face in his hands. It wasn't supposed to happen. What wasn't? The robbery. Emma stared at him. Tyler finally looked up. I owed money. To whom? He hesitated. Derek Vaughn. Emma recognized the name instantly. A local gang leader. Tyler continued. I made terrible decisions after we broke up. Gambling. Debt. Derek said I could clear what I owed if I helped. Emma could barely breathe. So you agreed to rob a pharmacy? Tyler nodded miserably. I thought no one would get hurt. You thought wrong. Tears streamed down Tyler's face. Emma, I swear I didn't shoot him. Then who did? Derek. Emma clenched her fists. You could have stopped him. Tyler had no answer. Police launched a manhunt for Derek Vaughn. Meanwhile, Tyler faced charges related to armed robbery and felony murder. Under state law, everyone involved could be held responsible. Emma wanted to hate him completely. Part of her already did. But another part remembered the boy he'd once been. The boy who brought flowers to her mother on Mother's Day. The boy who laughed until tears filled his eyes. How had that person become this man? One terrible choice at a time. Weeks later, Detective Ramirez contacted Emma again. We found Derek. The arrest ended in a brief standoff. This time, there was overwhelming evidence. Witness testimony, forensic reports, security footage. Derek Vaughn had fired the fatal shot. Tyler had not pulled the trigger. Yet Daniel Carter was still dead. Emma visited her father's grave that evening. I don't know what to do, she whispered. Wind rustled through the trees. She remembered one of Daniel's favorite sayings. People are more than the worst thing they've ever done. At the time, she'd admired his compassion. Now it felt impossible. Months passed. Tyler accepted a plea agreement. He would spend years in prison. Emma received a letter from him. At first, she threw it away. Then she retrieved it from the trash. Inside were handwritten pages. Emma, I know I don't deserve forgiveness. Your father believed people could change. Even when I disappointed him, he treated me with kindness. I live every day knowing that if I had made different choices, he'd still be alive. I'm sorry. I don't expect you to answer. But I needed you to know that your father died protecting someone else. Even in his final moments, he was trying to save another person. That's who he was. Emma cried harder than she had since the funeral. Because Tyler was right. That was exactly who Daniel Carter had been. A year later, Emma returned to the community center where her father had volunteered. They planned to establish a scholarship in his name for students pursuing careers in education. As Emma organized donations, an elderly woman approached her. I never thanked your father, she said softly. Emma looked confused. The woman smiled sadly. I was at the pharmacy that day. Emma's heart stopped. The woman he protected. The woman nodded. He pushed me out of the way. Tears filled Emma's eyes. He saved my life. Emma reached for the woman's hand. For the first time since Daniel's death, pride outweighed pain. Her father hadn't died because of who he was. He had died because of who he chose to be. Brave, selfless, good. Years later, Emma stood before a room full of scholarship recipients. Behind her hung a framed photograph of Daniel Carter. Smiling, warm, exactly as she remembered him. My father taught history, Emma began. But more importantly, he taught kindness. She paused. He believed our choices matter. They shape who we become. One selfish decision can destroy lives. One courageous decision can save them. Emma glanced at her father's photograph. She still missed him every day. There were moments when anger resurfaced. Moments when grief caught her unexpectedly. But she refused to let tragedy define his story. Because Daniel Carter's life had always been bigger than the way it ended. After the ceremony, one of the students approached her. Your dad sounds amazing, the young woman said. Emma smiled through tears. He was. As she stepped outside into the afternoon sunlight, Emma looked toward the sky. I hope I'm making you proud, Dad, she whispered. The ache of loss remained. Perhaps it always would, but alongside it lived something stronger. Love, the kind her father had shown others without hesitation. The kind that outlasted violence. The kind that inspired people long after they were gone. And Emma understood something then. She couldn't change what Tyler had done. She couldn't rewrite that terrible day. But she could choose what happened next. She could honor her father's memory not through hatred, but through the same compassion he had spent his entire life giving away so freely. Daniel Carter's story hadn't ended in a pharmacy. It lived on in every student he had encouraged, every neighbor he had helped, every life he had touched, and most of all, in the daughter who chose to carry his light forward, even through the darkness left behind.